Hello, people. Welcome to the Fantasy Fair. What is it? Oh, that is right. The most magical podcast on earth. Joining me on this lovely podcast, on this lovely overcast day, is Alexis. Alexis Soto, first up on the plate. What's up, my man? How you doing?
Are you sure it's overcast because of the clouds, or is that just dust?
Hard to tell. Hard to tell in this town.
I can't figure it out.
Me neither.
But it's fucking hot.
It is fucking hot. Damn. Then we also have Alexis Moreno. How are you doing? How's Phoenix? Not Phoenix. Arizona.
I don't live there.
Arizona. It's in the same vicinity, same state. You know what I mean.
It's fine.
Is it hot as balls?
Yeah.
Damn. I'm sorry.
But I bet it's hotter in Brawley, so...
Oh, God.
Not
It's like
complaining.
Satan's ass. That's what it is. Satan's ass. Like, no doubt about it. We are gathered here today. We are going to be reviewing The Boys documentary. We're kind of doing a documentary thread throughout the course of the next few weeks. We're gonna do The Boys. We're also gonna cover Waking Sleeping Beauty and Howard, because I know Waking Sleeping Beauty we've been wanting to cover for a while, and so we're gonna do that. But first, there's some Disney news that I like to cover that I think is exponential. One was already covered on the Red Spot Entertainment, but I didn't get the chance at least to say my thoughts because I've been on hiatus for a little while. So we're gonna talk about that and do all that shit first. Before we talk about The Boys, the Sherman Brothers.
The Richard Sherman.
The Richard Sherman, yeah. the Sherman Brothers documentary. So yeah, first up on the plate, we have a shift in the tides upon Mulan, and Mulan is coming out on Disney Plus for a premium price of $29.99 plus tax, you know. But it is going to be a premium, and it's going to be released. We're going to do a whole Mulan shindig later on in the show, in a couple of weeks at least. We're going to watch Mulan. We're going to do the audio commentary on it and everything like that. The original leading up to the release of Mulan and all that stuff. So we're going to have a Mulan centric week for you. A lot of Mulan content and more. So the first things first is that Mulan is being released on Disney Plus. What do you guys think about it? Before I go into my spiel. Because it was something that was unprecedented. Like, everybody was so adamant on releasing this in the theaters, and I was at least hoping to see it in theaters as well. But in these crazy times, in the times of Corona, here we are. So, what do you guys think about it? Alexis, I'll start with you. Soto.
You know, short, concise. I've already talked about this a number of times, I feel, but Bob Chapek made a relatively shrewd decision to kill two birds with one stone in terms of the financial interest of Disney. Not only does this present an opportunity where they can maybe recoup more revenue directly to themselves, whereas they would have to split a lot of it with the exhibitors. And at the same time, you're driving more traffic and perhaps more subscribers over to Disney Plus, which is the only thing they have going for them in the time of the pandemic. So from that standpoint, it was understandable, and it remains to be seen whether or not it's going to shake things up. I'm very curious. I think all of us are very curious to see how successful or not it is. I think we're all of the same mind that if it is successful, we can count Black Widow and Soul coming down next up the pipeline in the remainder of 2020. And if it's not successful, then we're not going to see that happen.
Then we'll see.
Then we'll see. And it also, I think, not only are we curious to see how successful or not it is, we're just really curious to see, I mean, if it's going to be successful at all, because there's a lot of apprehension among the Disney community about paying $30 for the movie.
Yeah. Alexis, Moreno, what are your thoughts on this whole ordeal? If you have any.
I agree with Alexis. I think it's business-wise, I mean, we have yet to see if it's successful, but it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea. But I know I have said this, like how Alexis said multiple times. I don't know if I said it on here. Maybe I have. I'm not sure.
We haven't talked about this on Fantasy
I don't think
yet.
So.
No.
But my thing is, Mulan deserves a theater release, in my opinion. First of all, like, it's Mulan. And then also, like, it's a woman-led movie. It's it's a whole, like, Asian cast, representation and all that stuff. Like, I just think that it sucks that it's not getting a theater release. I understand why it isn't, but I think that it should have been. Yes.
And to be clear, at a time when it's safe to be in theaters.
Yes.
I don't want to, beat this dead horse because I already have been on Red Spotlight, but I should, I feel compelled to say so. This isn't a time to go to a theater. I understand that theaters are open and now in all of 4 states, but mostly they are open. Mm-hmm. It is not safe. And I would not want Mulan to be opening right now because that would drive a lot of traffic. That would be a big movie, but it wouldn't be safe to do so. And I also want to add on to Alexis, that is so right. We want to make this, clear because this is getting lost in the conversation. Mulan not only was, going to provide a lot of great inclusive representation toward women in box office hits, blockbusters like Mulan, but also the Asian community. This is going to be a huge international release, and we need it when we have somebody out there, saying shit about a China virus, which is racist, right? So off the success of something like Crazy Rich Asians, also, there were so many reasons why this year should have been for... this, to my view, would have been the first summer box office where we would have had so many more inclusive movies that featured, you had big 3 with Mulan, Black Widow, and Wonder Woman. I don't think that's ever happened where we had the 3 biggest movies in the summer would have been led by women.
But then you have earlier on in the year with the Birds of Prey and all that stuff. So that's a quadruple feature right there. Mm-hmm. And honestly, like, I think that, okay, first of all, about the whole rental situation, great business move, I think, all around. Mm-hmm.
Except for, we did talk about this before also, the whole thing about, like, the movie theaters and all that stuff. I do feel for them. I do feel bad for them because obviously, like, the movie-going experience, one of my favorite things to do is go to the movies and stuff. So I understand their anger towards what's happening. But unfortunately, like, the time that we're living in, it's not possible right now. I feel it's just not possible. I do think that the whole international thing with them releasing the movie over there, it should be more prominent because, the US is kind of sort of the only place where it's not good.
I almost wonder if Disney would have made this decision if they didn't have that in their back sleeve. I almost wonder if they see the fact that some places are going to have a theatrical release. I wonder if they see it as a cushion, maybe, that they're going to make some good money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, like, Trolls did good. It did good on VOD. But the thing is that it didn't make the numbers that Universal was hoping for.
Yeah.
And that was because it was strictly released on VOD.
Mm-hmm.
Here you have like Asia, and
which, by the way, is a really good movie. But yeah.
Noted. The thing, okay, it's a wondrous thing, right? I mean, Mulan, it should be a dominating presence in Asia, I think. But the thing, great. Asia is getting, their hero, in their own country, and I love that. But however, yeah, due to the whole, especially now, I think now is a bigger time for the Asian community more than ever, because we seldom need it with the orange fuck saying, the China virus and all that shit. I mean, it honestly,
and actually, I feel like, I mean, I wanted to see like your point of view on that, because I mean, you're kind of part of that community, so like,
yeah. And on it, yeah, I think, let's go back to 2016.
Do we have to? That was a terrible year. That sucked.
Yeah. No, but I'm not politically, but a certain movie that came out that was really very pride inducing amongst my family, and that was Moana. And because we are of Polynesian, yes. What?
I forgot that was a thing.
You forgot that Moana was a movie?
No, I forgot.
She forgot that it came out in 2016.
Like, what movie are you talking about?
He's talking about Zootopia. His family felt very represented by Zootopia. That's the one he was talking about.
No. Okay. So Moana came out, right? And
she did?
It was
Yes, it did.
Yes, it did. So
you guys didn't get what I was doing there? Oh, never mind.
Okay. The thing that Moana did was it lifted, because my sisters saw themselves in Moana for the first time. They saw themselves in a Disney princess that they wouldn't have otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was really important. And that's why I couldn't, as much as the praise that, Black Panther did, and while we liked it to a degree, we didn't feel, connection. We cannot take away the fact that a lot of underrepresented people in, big blockbusters finally saw themselves in a character, finally saw themselves in characters. And I think that was really important. And, because my dad, he's traditionally Asian. My stepmom, she's traditionally Asian.
Oh.
And the thing is that they, seldom do they see, I mean, the only Hollywood, like real big shot Hollywood icon that they know of is Jackie Chan and all that shit, all the old school Chow Yun-fat and all that stuff, and that's the only one that they recognize. But here you have a full-blown Disney production that has that representation and has all these characters. My dad was over the moon when he saw the trailer for Mulan. I mean, it was a huge thing for my family. And I think that with that being said, I think that this is a very important movie. Probably the most important Disney remake that has come out so far, because of that. And I think it's very true. Alexis Soto, you did a project on the belittled voices of the Asian community in terms of art, such as movies and all that stuff, and you touched upon that kind of stuff. But the thing is that it is absolutely true. I think, while we claim the laurels of other minorities that are getting representation now, I think the one that there still needs a lot of work in is Asian Asian artists.
It's not even
And
close. It's not even close. I mean, since you mentioned it, I'll just plug it myself. It's called See Us. Go on YouTube. See Us. Alexis J. Soto. It's on my broadcast YouTube channel.
Oh my god.
But
Okay.
I'm just gonna put it out there because I think it's great. I mean,
Of course you do.
I know, of course I do, but no, I put a lot of work into it, and I think the story itself carried most of it. It's a powerful story, and I mean, so I interviewed these two Asian actors, and I mean, all of it is true. All the stories you hear, or if you hear them at all, but I mean, it's the most damning when we talk about leading roles in Hollywood. And a recent study out of a university in California showed that only 1% of all leading roles in Hollywood go to Asians.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
Go on.
agree with everything you're saying. I think it's so unfortunate that it's not getting a bigger thing. And the thing that like gets me so angry is
Police brutality. Sorry.
I mean, yes.
We'll have that conversation another time, but not right now.
I'm kidding,
well, no,
man.
I mean, I feel like it kind of goes with it because it's kind of a two-parter. We have one side not wanting to watch the movie because of the main actress and, you know, comments that she's made in the past. And while I understand the anger towards that, especially in, you know, in everything
Those
that's
circles.
going on,
Yes.
you know, I'm not disagreeing, but also it's kind of like you kind of need to see the bigger picture with this one.
There's more at stake. There's more at stake than just that one issue.
Yes. And then there's the other side where people are like, and obviously like not like talking about the people who actually cannot afford to pay the $30. Like, not like, I'm not saying anything about that because that's not like neither here nor there. But like the people who are complaining about paying the $30 to watch this movie because it's $30. Like, I'm sorry. It's ridiculous.
Can we be honest? It's particularly Americans. That's a special kind of American arrogance.
I find that so ridiculous.
It's the entitlement.
You are paying, okay, when you get Disney Plus, when you subscribe, yes, you pay like $7, whatever. First of all, that's not even a lot.
That's like one of the cheapest streaming services right now.
Yes, it is. Also, you're subscribing to it, but like 10 people can stream like the service at the same time. So if you share it with your entire family who may not live in the same house, and let's say you have like 4 brothers or something, and each of them have 3 family members of their own, that's a lot of people. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I feel like that's so stupid be complaining about. And also, when you go to the movies, you basically are gonna pay $30 for everything, for food, for tickets, like gas. I don't know. You know, I don't know. I mean,
the only way you're
ridiculous.
inconvenienced.
And like the people who are complaining,
right,
who are saying paying $30 when it has no music and no mushu. Excuse me?
People are missing the point of the movie.
Completely. Like, I mean, they've been complaining about no music and no mushu since the beginning. And it's like, when you look at the history of Mulan, like the animated movie, the Asian community did not like that. Because...
No.
Exactly. And it's like, bro.
No, they were downright offended.
Yes, they were. It's just so ridiculous to me. Sorry.
Well, I mean, that just speaks to me. And that's why I said that's kind of the reason why these remakes suck, right? Is because of that mentality from those fans. Exactly.
Yes,
it's like, we just want to make the same movie again.
Exactly. And like, here we are with this movie who they're making it more true to the story.
This is a real adaptation, you know?
Yes.
True to the heart, if you will.
What did he say?
Oh, don't ignore him. Anyways, it's more of a better adaptation to the real story, and people are complaining about it. And it's like, well, what the fuck do you want then? Like,
well, we know what they want. We know what they want. It's Lion King.
They want the same.
Yeah.
They want the same regurgitated shit that Disney has been shoveling in their faces for quite a few years now.
They're acting as if they can't just, I don't know, go on Disney Plus and watch the original Mulan. Like, hell, no one's taking that away, you know?
Yeah. Oh, it ruined my child. Fuck you. But the thing is that I don't know. I'm very sad that this movie will not get its due that it deserves in the box office. That, you know, and I think, as much as me and Alexis particularly like to carb on, you know, Disney, like, you know, being like the big money making machine and all that stuff, and you know, all that stuff. I actually want it because they're actually doing some good here by making this movie, I think. And I think that Disney deserves this money that it should be making with Mulan. But again, like, especially with the racist rhetoric that's been going on and just everything that's been happening, I think that this movie should have, you know, needs to happen. I'm glad we're getting to see it.
Yes,
finally.
I'm glad that Disney is making a big deal about it too.
Yeah.
You know, even if they're not doing a big thing with it, like, I'm happy that, like, I mean, every time I log on to, like, Instagram, Twitter, it's something about Mulan and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they're putting the word out there, and I'm glad that they're, like, taking the time and taking the money to do that as well.
Yeah, like, they're releasing all the Christina Aguilera music videos, and that's being a, you know, huge promotion and everything like that. It's good. Like, this is like textbook Disney doing what it does.
Oh, we should also mention the initial reactions have been very positive from critics today, so that's promising.
Yeah. So we have that, and I think that this is I think it's shaping out to be an experience. I can't wait to see it. I wish I could see it in the theater with a lot of people, you know, but unfortunately, you know, these are the times that we're living in, and we can't do that. As much as we want to. Wake up, America. But here we are. We're doing this shit. We're in it, and it comes out next week. So,
if I may,
so we'll see.
Add one more thing about this, because David and I just discussed this, ironically enough, on the Captain Marvel audio commentary this week. At the end of it, we addressed all of the really horrible shit that was happening when the movie came out. You know, with the whole Brie Larson drama and all that shit. And I just said, and David and I were saying this, look, if you can't recognize that cinema is a powerful thing, and that seeing yourself on the screen, that you complain that, you know, oh, is it their turn to see themselves on the screen? We're like having issues with that. Then that just shows your privilege, because you're used to seeing yourself on the screen.
Yeah.
So you can't fathom why it would be important for other communities who are not seen.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many people, there's so many, like, little girls that were uplifted that Marvel finally has a girl on the screen. Like, and I think that is, like, the most important thing about these stories being told, is that voices are being heard. People are finally feel like they're being seen.
Yeah.
And the arrogance of people not getting what they want, it supersedes that whole entire argument, you know, regardless. So I don't we could spend forever talking about the sheer ignorance and stupidity of people. And if you want to hear, and
we have it's called Red Spotlight. We have like 262 hours of that or more, at least.
If more, I mean, somewhere around that ballpark. But anyway, I'm thrilled that that Mulan is happening, and all that stuff. Speaking of Asian representation, I was really happy about this news recently in Disney, that Disney announced that they're recasting Raya. Cassie Steele is being replaced by Kelly Marie Tran in Raya and the Last Dragon.
Can you taste those? Can you taste the tears? The tears.
Oh
of
yes,
the...
I could taste the haters' tears, and boy, it tastes delicious,
doesn't it?
Oh God, for Kelly Marie, like, I wanted to cry when I saw that news. I woke up, checked Twitter,
spoken like
see
an
if the
angry
world's
white
ended.
man. Hey.
Yeah,
You know, because they hate Kelly Marie Tran.
I opened up Twitter to make sure that the world hasn't ended.
I know.
And I saw that news on Entertainment. First of all, they released a promo image of the movie. Gorgeous, by the way. It's oozing with color and life and everything like that. But the sheer announcement of Kelly Marie Tran being in Raya and the Last Dragon.
That was the cherry on top.
Leading. Like, she could have been just a side character or anything like that, but no, she replaced Cassie Steele, and she's gonna lead the first Southeast Asian actress or actor to lead a Disney project like this.
And you know what? That's the least Disney can do. After how badly and disgustingly they sideline her in The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
And you can tell, I don't know, to me it came off very blatantly that there was some behind the scenes stuff that sidelined her because of the hate. Like, you know what was so sad about that is that Kelly Marie Tran was far more reduced than Jar Jar Binks in the subsequent sequels of the films in their debuts where they were not received so well.
Yeah.
So she was done dirty. She really was, by a lot of people. Lucasfilm, J.J. Abrams, Disney, they validated every hateful person that drove her off Twitter. And that's a shame.
Yeah.
That's the damn shame, and almost unforgivable, really, what happened to her. But you know what? This is a nice consolation prize. A lead in a Disney animated movie. You're immortalized.
Yeah, you're sitting comfortably with Paige O'Hara, Jodie Benson, you know, what else?
Eileen Woods.
You know, the list goes on. You know, you're immortalized in that Disney pantheon of characters and everything like that, that I think is the most rewarding thing that you could do, because you are, you know, you sit comfortably with Pinocchio and Snow White, you know, in the Disney library.
Also, the movie, everything that I've seen from the movie so far looks amazing.
Yeah.
I am so excited for this movie.
And oh my gosh, the vocal chemistry between Awkwafina and Kelly Marie Tran is going to be amazing.
Awkwafina's amazing. She's amazing.
That's going to be glorious.
She's really, yeah, she's underrated as an actor too. You haven't seen The Farewell? She's great in that. It's on Amazon Prime if you want to stream it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, are you the official ambassador of The Farewell?
Yes, I am.
But yeah, it's so glorious. I don't know how you guys feel. I mean, obviously we're very happy, but tell us how happy you guys are.
I mean, I love it. I love everything about it. I think it's great. I'm so excited for this movie to come out. I think this was the movie that I was like most excited to see this year.
Mm-hmm. Wait, it was coming out this year?
Yeah, it was coming out this year.
Oh my god!
It was gonna come out this year, but it would have had to compete with a giant dinosaur and a monkey. So,
wait, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Oh.
So I think this is a good move. I think it's a movie, and plus Corona and all that stuff, and I want to see this movie get its justice. You know, so I want that. And it's being moved to March 12th, 2021, which I think is very, very interesting. Nice. It's an early birthday present for me if we get to go to the movies.
Yeah, I was already excited about this movie, but now even more so with the images that have come out, and then of course with the casting and the vindication and the beauty that is Kelly Marie Tran. Way to go. What a comeback. Fuck off to all those, you know, racist idiots. And I say that with every fiber of my being. Fuck off.
Also fuck off J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy.
That was rude. That was beyond fucking rude what they did to her. Also, it's just exciting the direction that Disney Animation is heading in. Now that Lasseter, the remnants of Lasseter, I feel, have been swept away, and we have Jennifer Lee, you know, known for co-directing both Frozen films as well as basically also shepherding this age of the revival era. Yeah. I'm so excited that we're gonna get more stories like these.
Yes, I don't know if you guys have seen or saw the Frozen documentary series.
Not yet.
Oh my god! If I took away anything from all of that, is my love for Jennifer Lee has grown so much.
She has the expression. The hand waves are here.
Oh my god. I like thinking about her, like, just makes me want to cry. I love her.
Well, she's inspiring. She's inspiring. And like, she's one of those, I mean, look at her position. I mean, like in a man-dominated world, in a man-dominated industry, she is paving her way. That, I mean, she's basically a pioneer at this. I don't recall any other woman leading the animation studio. And
I mean, we've obviously had like prominent women in the Disney in Disney history, but not like this.
Exactly.
I mean, she's an executive. I mean, that's a big time deal.
Yeah. So yeah, and also like the projects that you know are coming out, I feel is such a breath of fresh air too. Because let's face it, I think that
they needed this.
Yeah, they needed this bigly.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
But honestly, it's terrific to me. Because for the many reasons we stated during the Mulan discussion, representation, and it's great that we have a female that I think it's gonna definitely lead to more emotional storytelling, which is gonna be huge. It leads
to better stories, and they're better mostly because they're different. I mean, that also people don't understand that. Look, we've had, I don't know how many decades of filmmaking mainly by men, and we're at 2020. We've kind of been every shit.
We
get the point at this at this era, right? And with new voices of different backgrounds, you get different perspectives and you get different stories and you get something new.
Yes.
Yeah, like for example, the movie we watched, the last movie we watched in March, Onward, like that was such a breath of fresh air, seeing a new original Pixar movie in that form. I think it was terrific. And we need more movies like this, movies that, take a risk, tell different stories, go to different parts of the world. I think that's what
show
makes
different
movies...
relationships, not just, romance or even like parents and stuff. This is like a sibling, but who's a parent, like, mixes it up a little bit. You know what I mean?
And there's so many different themes that you could tackle too. I mean, and also like nowadays, like the human race has become more complex. You could, tell more complex stories of that. More overtly political things now. I mean, things are shaping out really well in 2020 in terms of like the way movies are going.
Alexis' face.
And that's exciting.
Yes. I mean, at least some good things might come out of this. Out of this year.
And, okay, not 2020 as the year at large, okay? I mean 2020 as, like, creative projects. Like, for example, even though it was a recycled idea, Palm Springs, the movie that came out on Hulu, freaking phenomenal. Like, different things like that, I think, really shape the edge that I think that movies should be going from here on out. Yeah. Final thoughts?
What is this? This is not real.
What?
You're kidding me here, right? Please tell me this is fake. Go on Twitter right now.
I am on Twitter.
Chadwick Boseman died.
Stop it! No! 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 I just saw it. No! 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 Stop it! No! Oh my god! Jesus! Oh my hands are like shaking right now.
In what? In anger? I can't believe what I'm reading.
Oh my god! Kyle!
What?
Kyle!
Something shook the planet. Go on social media, man. This is, oh my god, this just broke 7 minutes ago. This is such devastating news.
Oh my god.
I cannot believe what I'm reading. I have the statement here from... It is with immeasurable grief that we confirm the passing of Chadwick Boseman. Chadwick was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer in 2016 and battled with it these last 4 years as it progressed to stage 6. A true fighter, Chadwick persevered through it all and brought you many of the films you have come to love so much. From Marshall to The Five Bloods, August Wilson's Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and several more, all were filmed during and between countless surgeries and chemotherapy. It was the honor of his career to bring King T'Challa to life in Black Panther. He died in his home with his wife and family by his side. The family thanks you for your love and prayers and asks that you continue to respect their privacy during this difficult time. This was posted on Chadwick Boseman's Twitter handle, 7:11 p.m.
It's funny how we were talking about like diversity and how much like the Black Panther, how much that movie meant to a lot of people, and you're definitely seeing that a lot on Twitter and everything like that. You're seeing the impact that Chadwick Boseman left, not just as a figure, an actor, a character in a movie, but as a voice to a lot of people. And I think that's the most important thing that he left behind. That he left behind a very powerful voice for a group of people that really needed it. That's all I gotta say, really.
We were going to transition to the review when the news hit, and so we all had to hit pause and collectively regroup, because I mean, I can speak for myself, but I'm sure both of you feel this way. I feel like I just got the wind knocked out of me. It's just so sudden, I don't know what I can say. I'm just so unbelievably stunned. We were really, all of us, and you could feel the energy. We were in such a good mood, and then this happened, and I feel like you can drop a pin in any one of our locations and we could hear it. It's just, I mean, it literally sucked the air out of whatever energy we had. This is just so unbelievably depressing.
Yeah.
This fucking sucks.
And he was so young too. Guys, cancer fucking sucks.
Fuck cancer.
Honestly, I don't know where to go.
There's no flawless or graceful way to transition into what we're talking about next. It may seem moot now considering what has happened on the world stage, and we're going to do what we said we were going to do for this podcast, but we wanted to acknowledge literally the events that have shaken all of us right now. This is just so unbelievably sad, and we want to, of course, pay respects to an incredible person, a tremendous actor, and an icon for many people. And it's just so fucking eerie. We were just having this long conversation about the importance of inclusion and diversity and the power that cinema can have. Yeah.
So I guess we'll talk about The Boys.
Yeah, so
It'd be
yeah, we have to.
It'll be very it'll be very hard to talk about it, but here we are. The Boys is a documentary about the Sherman Brothers. And yeah, Alexis.
Well, I mean, look. So we'll give a little bit more information and background on that. So we're talking about this movie not because it came out recently. It's about 11 years old now, and Alexis herself insisted that we talk about this as a nice glass of wine and pair it with Howard, which recently saw its debut on Disney Plus. I had not seen it, and so this is my first time having seen the documentary film on the Sherman Brothers. I don't know, Kyle, if you had previously seen this movie?
No, a few weeks before, several weeks before I made my trip to Idaho, I saw it.
Yeah. Well, sorry, I don't know if you mentioned it. But yeah, I've been wanting to watch this for a really long time. But I don't know. I just did it. And with Howard coming out, I kind of thought like it would be cool to do like a 2-part thing.
Yeah.
Considering they're like, you know, Disney's
about music
people. And I'm very happy that I watched it. I thought it was really good. It was kind of a breath of fresh air because I didn't know a lot of the information that the documentary gives us. So that was kind of cool to find out. And yeah, I mean, basically it's just, you know, their life and how them and their relationship with Disney and the company came to be, and the relationship with each other and their career and stuff. So yeah, it was really cool. I enjoyed it a lot.
Like, obviously, like us as like hardcore Disney fans, we knew primarily the gist of like the relationship with Walt.
Yeah.
and all that stuff, when we knew the relationship that they had with the company and all that stuff, we didn't know how it started.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know what they did before, like the impact that they had before. And it was very interesting to see that it wasn't just all like willy-nilly. We're best friends kind of brothers.
Yeah.
Like they clashed a lot and all that stuff, and you gotta see a lot of that. And honestly, I think it was like earnestly honest with what the Sherman Brothers were. I was expecting to see a lot of padding and all that stuff, but it was just like sometimes the boys, trademark, they fucking hated each other's guts.
Yeah. And also, their sons did the documentary, which is very interesting because you kind of like, I feel like they might have felt more comfortable opening up to them, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and been more biased towards the whole situation as well. As like, oh, we don't want to, like, some families, like example, like Frank Sinatra's family, they did not want Scorsese to do the Frank Sinatra biopic because he was going to tackle the mob aspect, but it was nice to see that they didn't shy away from, like, the wars that they had with each other and everything like that. And I think that was really, really nice to also see, from that angle. Let's start it off. They were let's start off their career, basically. They were pretty much the Mad Men of ad compositions in terms of, like, songs and all that stuff, and they worked in bringing a celebrity up to light with their music and everything like that. I think that was incredible. Where do you think the story between them and Disney and in their careers started to align? Like, where do you think the stars started to align in terms of, like, where they would eventually wind up and be famously known for? Moreno.
I'm sorry, what was the question? Sorry, my dad was texting me.
It's like where do you think their careers aligned in terms of, like, Disney's concerned, in terms of, like, them getting noticed?
I mean, I think that, like, the way that I can't say, like, the way that they came about the music. I think the way that their music came out and, like, the types of songs that they would do and like the style of it, I think that's what caught Disney's eye, because it very much is, like, catchy tunes and, like, what's it called, like, I wouldn't say, like, kiddie words, but, like, I don't know,
like a childlike essence to,
yes,
like, the innocent kind of way
but,
that
like,
they would tell their stories.
Still really good. Like, not to, like, downplay it by saying, like, a kiddie stuff, but, like, because, I mean, it's not, it's, like, all of their songs are, like, iconic, but the way that they write and the way that their music come out very much is what I feel is Disney. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like, they're quite great wordsmiths, really. I mean, there was, like, one line that was, like, cuckoo kazoo and just, like, just different nonsensical terms like that I think added to that. But then, like, it makes sense when you look at other, feature, like the word supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. what the fuck is that word? What even is it? But they somehow made it like a household name, and I think that is extraordinary. How like their linguistic skills and everything like that. We saw a little bit of the collaboration when they were talking in Saving Mr. Banks.
Yes,
the characters played by Jason Schwartzman and BJ Novak, they played the boys, you know, and they were talking about just a spoonful of sugar, you know, and they added the element of, you know, adding a cube of sugar after an injection. It helped the medicine go down. It just made the injection, the painful injection, it soothed the pain a little bit, like knowing that you had a little bit of sugar in there. And I like how they were like, wait a minute, so my son, your nephew, he got his booster shots today, and this is what happened. And he's like, oh, okay. And then just the ideas that they get from random bits boosted up their music and all that stuff, and that's where I think that you were right. It really did fit in with Disney.
And like, what's so wild is they would have a song ready in an hour.
Yeah,
like that's nuts. Are you kidding me? That's like, I can't do that.
Like, and not only like, okay, because it's hard enough to like write words, right?
Yes.
I'm not a professional musician in any you know means of the imagination, but it's fucking hard to like, you know, you come up with a good riff and everything like that. You come up with a good like, you know, song beat like and you're trying to add words to that, and it's just fucking difficult to add that thing. But the Sherman Brothers are able to do that like this.
That's insane. You know? That's nuts. But yeah. Well, okay, I think we should talk about, like, before Disney, because I feel like that's, like, a good chunk of the movie. They do talk about, like, you know, their childhood, their parents, the way that they grew up. I forgot what their mom was, but their dad was a musician, or I think he was a songwriter as well. And I guess, like, growing up, they were never close.
Yeah.
Which, to me, that's insane. Like, the whole movie talks about their relationship with each other, and it's insane to me because, like, I don't know, they never, for sure they didn't hate each other at all.
Yeah. They were definitely at each other's throats.
Yes, but they were not, like, fond of each other. They were complete opposites. You have one who's super calm and, like, you know, has to think everything through, and then you have the other one on the complete opposite side of the spectrum where he's very
rambunctious, a little bit of a troublemaker,
and, like, you know.
I think that, okay, again, going back to Disney, sorry to do that, but it's a perfect, you know, juxtaposition between Walt and Roy.
Yes.
You know,
but like at least they somewhat got along. I know that I've heard things where at some point like their relationship was strained, and they didn't talk with each other for a while, but they eventually like came together, you know, and they were close. It's just, you know, sibling relationships, sometimes something happens, but, you know, I feel like eventually you do come back to each other, you know.
Well, building a giant ass theme park doesn't do well.
Yes, especially when you're on the brink of, you know, bankruptcy
like a couple of times. Yeah.
But yeah,
and union disputes with your employees. Yes. I mean, the list goes on.
But them, they were never close. As you know, as kids, as young adults, and as adults, and you know, so on. They were close in the sense that they worked together and they had to see each other every day. But work was work, and their life was completely separate. And again, that's just completely insane to me because I have a sibling, and I can't imagine my life without him. I can't, I would hate to have a relationship like that with my brother, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he's the most important person to me, and I can't imagine having something like that with him. It's like, nuts.
Not an intimate relationship with your brother, but like a more platonic relationship, and I think that's what more the Sherman Brothers lean to, the more platonic side. Like, hey, you know, I acknowledge you exist.
Yes.
Kind of thing. Like, that's kind of fucked up, but that, yeah, and the way that they got into business too, it just so happens that we are doing the same thing, and it just so happens that this is the way that we're doing. But they were good at it.
They were so damn good at it. Yes.
Yeah, like, and that's where you mentioned it before, like writing a song within an hour. That's where they were really good at, you know, ads and all that stuff, and just like making music for movies that, you know, you would shoot on the day of. You know, and I think that would be something that really benefited their career in that regard, because they were that good at what they did. They were able to maneuver and adapt their style into whatever project they were working on.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the thing is. I think that's what the main point of that is. That they were not close, but damn, when they were together, it fucking ended the world, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah, they did mention that you can hear, or there was some animators, or the animators who worked like either in the next room or the room across or something. They would, you know, be working, and then all they would hear is them just yelling at each other, and they would sketch what they think that they were doing. Yeah. And it was just them going at it. It was interesting. It was funny.
Some of the famous arguments that they would have made it seeped its way into the Mary Poppins lore of it all. It's just I think it's great, honestly, that it was earnest. Like, it wasn't like, oh, look at, you know, Paul, John, you know, Ringo and George, you look at how they all get along at the behind the scenes features. You know, it was more of like, this business relationship needed to be what it needed to be.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So there were little bits of them, you know, within the confines of like the army and all that stuff. They did what every boy did in the 40s and 50s and enlist and everything like that. And they, you know, they wrote war jingles and everything like that. And again, I'm seeing like great parallels. And this is where I think that this fits comfortably within, you know, Disney Plus, because like the parallels that they have is the same parallels that Roy and Walt had. You know, that Walt also enlisted in the army, and he did some stuff for the army as well, you know, making cartoons. I mean, it might not have been writing music, but there was kind of
they used their talents in the military.
Yeah. But it's crazy that, you know, when you see it later on in their career, you see that is why they had a special bond between them and Walt, because of like, you know, their upbringing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Their father was you know, was strict, and their mom was very kind and everything like that. I mean, just the typical, you know, story that you have with, you know, the family background and everything like that. It was cool going to their childhood home. I think. And they just told like the stories. They're like, oh, I think I broke this once. You know, it just like stuff like that. Just
I like the part when he tried to open the door and he like broke it, and he's just like, oh.
Or how like Richard, he would like jump off the window and you know, like a complete daredevil, and they would Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They were rushed to the hospital, and there was just like, oh, Richard, there goes Dick again.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see where they come from and like everything, like, because nowadays Richard, he's completely mellowed out.
Whoa. I mean, he's like 90.
Well, okay, yes.
I feel like it was about time.
Well, come on,
like,
old man.
I wouldn't even say that because he's still working. I mean, he just came out in a movie last year, like, or 2 years ago, or whenever it came out.
For Christopher Robin, and he
was
wrote new songs.
Yeah,
on the beach.
Yeah.
With a bunch of people in period swimsuits. I mean, come on. But yeah, he's Richard Sherman has got to be like one of the great. I know this is a Disney podcast, and we love everybody who's like worked on Disney and everything like that. So we're gonna stroke the egos a little bit here, but it is so interesting to see. I mean, unfortunately, the only ones that's living right now is Richard. But it's nice to see that he's carrying on the legacy that him and his brother started.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is the most important thing, that even though that they were at odds with each other, that this is where we are in terms of their career. And I think that is the most important part of this documentary, and the point that was being put. Who directed it? You know?
It was the Sons.
The Sons?
Yeah.
Okay. The Sons. Okay. I thought they produced. I didn't know that they directed. But that's really interesting. I got some interesting photos in there as well, like archive and everything like that. And you could tell that Richard Sherman had a shit-eating grin. Just troublemaker all around. Yeah. Anything else do you want to talk about in the documentary?
Well, I mean, I guess we could go more into Disney. I mean, they have a major track list from Jungle Book to Mary Poppins to Winnie the Pooh, like so many things. Obviously, I think the most interesting one is gonna be Mary Poppins. I love the story of how Walt gave them the book, and then they came back and they all had the same pages marked for how to tell the story.
Yeah.
And they showed him the book, and they were like, I think we should tell this, this, and this. And then Walt was like, hold on. And he got his book, and it was the exact same pages.
Same shit.
I love it. I love it. It's so good.
I think that's the best part. I mean, again, this is where like the synonymous relationship between Walt and the boys, comes into play, because they all were on the same page, almost constantly. They made fun of P.L. Travers, when it came around to that, it was almost like he was part of the boys, Walt, but yeah, ginormous. It's so cool that Richard Sherman and Bob Sherman were Howard and Alan before Howard and Alan were.
I love kind of the similarities between the Sherman Brothers and then Howard Ashman and Alan Menken, where they I feel like you see it more in the Howard documentary, but how the Sherman Brothers were very involved in the storytelling part of the movies because of, the songs that they included and like how they were gonna do all that stuff. I find that very interesting. That they were able to, obviously, like, with music, you are also storytellers, but I feel like when you do it this way, I feel like it's, at least to me, it seems more fun, because you kind of, you know, you only get a little piece of the movie, but it's also kind of just like longer. You know what I mean? Like it's you tell the story with the soundtrack.
Yeah, and you know, it's like, I mean, let's face it, Mary Poppins would not have worked if it weren't for the bopping tunes that the Sherman Bros did. The Jungle Book, same thing. You know, he would not have that, you know, kind of chutzpah.
Yeah,
that,
I mean, the Jungle Book is one of my favorite Disney soundtracks. So I mean, A+ there.
Alexis, Soto, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, look, this was an excellent documentary by all accounts, but I think the stuff that I was most taken with was what I wasn't already aware of, right? And that was the relationship between the brothers. That threw me. I was just like, what? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay. That's weird because and they play on that because the public persona is that they were all, you know, happy-go-lucky and they loved each other and, you know, happily ever after. Mm-hmm. But it really revealed a very complicated relationship. And I mean, Alexis alluded to it beforehand, but, you know, all of us have siblings. But there are those out there that aren't very close at all. And, you know, you just... And it seemed as if they weren't... And they just didn't have the common interests. And it's... To me, I find that just so peculiar because... I just can't imagine. I mean, these two were award-winning songwriting team, and yet they didn't like each other's interests very well. And I find it just personally difficult to believe because, I mean, I think all of us can, agree that it's just hard to get any traction with people that are just so different. And to be clear, it's not as if, you know, we shouldn't make an effort.
You can't
of course,
make it work.
It's not as if we shouldn't make an effort, and we all have had our disagreements, and we've all, you know, gotten along or not gotten along at our own pace, rather. But usually, artists create, you know, art through a commonality, and they did have the passion for songwriting, and that may have been all that they had in common besides being related. It's just a very fascinating look at this relationship.
And in this case, it's all they needed, that commonality of songwriting that
I think
got them together.
At least to me, what was conveyed as far as the dynamic between those two is that Bob was never the same after the war. And clearly, you know, every time, you know, they kept going back to it, it definitely changed him as a person. You know, I was just reading this article from a reporter who is having a difficult time reviewing any films right now. And he said, because he lives in New York when the refrigerator morgues were parked by his apartment. And he literally said, you know what, having a refrigerated morgue parked by your apartment changes a person. And the horrors that he saw, that Bob Sherman saw, I mean, just clearly, and Richard said he never talked about it. Why would you want to talk about, you know, walking up on a concentration camp and seeing corpses and ovens and just, you know, just unspeakable horror that humans can do. And so it's perfectly understandable the impact it had on him, and unfortunately it may have helped to strain the relationship some, because I you know, to me, I got the sense several times when we kept cutting back to Richard that while Bob said repeatedly he has no regrets, you know, you get the impression Richard holds a little bit of resentment towards Bob, because Richard is very open. And, you know, and he...
Well, I mean, he was, or he is, you know, the younger brother. So I feel, I mean, I can't really relate because I'm the older sibling.
All of us,
but I feel like
all of us are the oldest siblings. In fact, of our families.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of have this sense where you look up to your older sibling, you know, and when they shut you out, you're gonna, you know, have a grudge against that, you know.
Please don't slam the door.
So yeah, I understand why he may have felt this way. I kind of got that when I forgot what exactly they were talking about, but they asked Richard about a time where they completely did not speak to each other. And he
just says, I don't want to talk about it.
He was like, I don't like. Yeah, he just completely shuts them out. And that was really sad.
It is sad because, you know, these two individuals have been at the forefront of such amazing work that has brought so much joy for generations. And you know what? It just seems to be the eternal story of artists, if you will, is that, you know, you can't get anything great without pain. And, you know, the older all of us get, the more aware we are of just how tortured, I mean, anybody, especially these days, are. But, like, as far as, like, these people who are basically, you know, who are alive today that leap out of the pages of history books that have made history in their time. And then you come to find out that, you know, life wasn't as happy, you know. It's just so striking, you know, when they would say that their families would just not interact. The fact that this film even exists is a miracle. They're the two cousins, the sons of these two boys, you know, Richard and Bob, weren't in each other's lives for upwards of 20 plus years. And, you know, it was something that was a little bit to the side. I would have liked to have seen. I know it's a little cliche to interview yourselves since, like, you're the ones making the movie, but I'm sure there's also some resentment on the part of the sons for their fathers not having come to some kind of resolution, that their families had to have been so isolated for such a long period of time. But through it all, you know, what I think, to me, the point that was the emotional peak, and you know, and you can tell how much it meant to Richard, because clearly, at least to me, the impression is that he thought for the longest time that his brother just didn't love him. And it gets to that point toward the end of the film, and Bob had sent Richard a gift for his 50th birthday, and it included I don't know if it was a poem. I think it was a poem of sorts. And what stood out to me, and clearly what stood out to him and how he was reciting it, was, you know, words can't express what you mean to me. And I think that was kind of all he needed as proof that his brother did love him. But clearly, everything literally was against them from being, you know, friends, from being close. But there's just something so supernatural about the fact, you know, like, you know what, I don't care about you as a person, but something about the fact that we have spent so much of our lives. But even then, there's just a part of me that will always love you just because we're family. You know, they say there's such a supernatural feeling about it, you know, when, to me, it was moving. It was sad.
Yeah.
And I hope, because, you know, this is actually a common thing. We don't talk about it on these shows all that much, but, you know, there are so many horrible stories of families just not speaking to each other over the most stupid shit. I mean, and that's just me speaking bluntly.
My grandma, she and her siblings constantly fight. And the thing about that is that, you know, there's so many family baggage and everything like that. My great grandpa Glenn was a raging alcoholic, and was very, very, you know, lack of a better term, abusive and all that stuff, and you know, and that really strained the relationship between her and her sisters and everything like that. Just for resentment of like different things and how they lived and everything like that. I mean, it is clear. I mean, there are different circumstances with each and every sibling of how they are, you know, connected and everything like that. There's a story. I mean, we don't really know what happens behind closed doors, really. But it seemed through the lens of this documentary is that despite it all, but you know, despite different interests and everything like that, despite commonality, you know, withholding the one, they still very much loved each other.
Yeah.
You know, even though, you know, for periods of time they didn't believe that was a thing, you know, between each other. But I think that is the most important thing, and I think that that's what I think that their relatives wanted to put across, is that they did love each other despite it all.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that was important.
Yeah. I think for me, one of the saddest parts was in, I think it was the Mary Poppins on Broadway premiere, and they kind of met up with each other, and Richard was like so excited. I mean, they were both very excited, but he was like, "Oh, like hi, like I haven't seen you in a while," and Robert was just like, "Yeah."
Okay. Fine.
Oh no, I was like, wow.
It's
so
just
sad.
like, you know, Richard is, you know, they refer to him as a sentimentalist, but he's just so full. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and, you know, clearly he was emotional, but, you know, you get the impression that just Bob couldn't really pick up on those things, and he just wasn't the kind of person that can return that kind of appreciation.
Yeah.
And especially, you know, I mean, you mentioned like the war and everything like that, PTSD and everything like that, and that would do a number on you, and it would affect the relationships that you have, you know, with loved ones.
Yeah.
But yeah. That Mary Poppins thing, just jeez.
And then also, what was very interesting, which I don't know why I didn't like put this together, but how much the passing of Walt affected their relationship with the company.
It's just an example of, and I don't understand why this happens, but like when someone important dies, people decide to like split up because they can't settle their differences for themselves. It's always just such a fucking shame when I see families or you know, friends of a person that died literally fight for territory of what was left from their stuff. It's just so fucking depressing to me.
Yeah.
It's like a staged production of a tax return. No? You didn't get it?
No, I didn't get it.
That Knives Out.
Okay.
Knives Out.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah. So it's like to see, I mean, the golden age of Disney died with him, and the company, of course, was worried about how do they go on, but they literally did everything wrong. I mean, no one It's just like, I feel like as soon as somebody dies that is kind of responsible for keeping it all together, like that's the glue, they all just immediately start fighting. And like the fact that the Sherman Brothers were being like intentionally sidelined by other power players in the company because they were Walt's Golden Boys is some of the most pettiest shit I've ever seen. And you know what? They fucking deserved all of the dark age, as they call it now, of Disney.
No, yeah, I completely agree. I think that and you see proof of that they needed them when they brought in Alan Menken and Howard Ashman, because they literally did the same thing, obviously, with a fresher mind, and
kind of a modern intake as well.
But imagine if they kept going, you know what I mean? Like, the company would have been so different at the time.
I mean, who knows what would have mustered out of that,
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was really fun. I mean, not fun, but like fun.
Enlightening.
Yes.
for how some of our favorite composers see their dynamic and how they work and operate and all that stuff. So I think that's what the key point of all this, between this and Howard. That's why I think that this is a marvelous double feature.
Yeah.
Because you get to see like the interpersonal relationships between all these people that made the songs that you love, that we've been bopping in our playlist since we were young, So I think that is I think that makes The Boys, I think, worth watching.
Between this and Howard and Waking Sleeping Beauty and also Saving Mr. Banks to a certain degree, they all make for wonderful companion pieces.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Okay. So we liked it. Yeah. Go watch it if you got an hour and a half to kill. So yeah. Without further ado, I'm Kyle Lira. With me is Alexis Soto and Alexis Moreno. We have a lot more content coming up with the Fantasy Fair, so keep your ears peeled for that. We are doing a smorgasbord of Mulan content coming up, so yeah, get ready. It's going to be a lot. Also in Red Spotlight Entertainment, we're going to begin the Chorus series pretty soon, so we're also going to do that, and many more to come. So without further ado, I'm Kyle Lira, and as always, stay magical, everyone.